You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Please forgive me again. I am still a little congested, but we are going to get through this with Gary here. But let's dive into it. So some stories wait. They live in sketchbooks, in late night ideas, in the quiet persistence of creators who know the world they're building just hasn't had its moment yet. For Gary, that moment has finally arrived. Legacy, Idols and Bones isn't just a comic. It's the unleashing of a universe more than a decade in the making. A brutal collision of superhero mythology, sci-fi dread, and horror-fueled violence wrapped in an unapologetic spirit of your favorite 1990s comic energy. Today, we sit down with the creator behind the chaos to explore the birth of a new legacy, the cost of building gods in a broken world. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now in session. Gary, welcome to the USDN, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on a Saturday.
Dude, I told you Saturdays are for my friends in the UK, and that's what we're here to do. Even on Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, my wife's fine about it. It's okay.
Mine's at work right now, so we're good. But let's dive into it. So this idea has lived since 2008. What has kept this book alive, and why is now that perfect time?
Yeah, I'd say probably around 2008. Certainly where the designs for the characters sort of started popping into my head. And it was just me drawing, Eidolon and Carcass and just sort of going, oh, that's quite a cool character. That's a cool character. I don't think I didn't even have a story then. By the time that I started thinking about a story, it was literally just a rip-off of The Death of Superman. And there's still a lot of that in there, but it's definitely gone off in other directions. But yeah, so I mean, I always knew that it was going to be sort of quite a few issues long. And that's the problem, isn't it? Is sort of trying to find the time to sort of go, how on earth would I do something that's several issues long? And I think, I don't know when it would have been, probably around the sort of 2012, probably just before that. I did actually draw, I think, 13 pages of it. Man, I absolutely hated it. It was just like, nah, this is rubbish. I wasn't good enough for what I'd done. And that completely went to the side. I think I put those pages into the deluxe PDF version of issue 1, so that people can still see some ideas of where that came. And then it would have been all the way to, what would it have been, 2020, and the even worse C word of COVID.
Yeah.
And I was furloughed off work entire time, and I was just like, where's that comic that I wanted to do that comic. I'm sat at home. I'm literally sat at home doing nothing. So this is 2020, and I did I think I drew about 12 pages, and I had another 12 pages that were all in sort of various levels of laid out and pencil sketched up, things like that. And then, furlough came to an end, and and you're back to work. And you go, oh, okay, it didn't happen. Push it to the side, push it to the side. Don't worry about it. And then it would have only been probably about a year ago, maybe a year and a half by now, because obviously I'm on issue 2. Well, issue 2's done and I'm working on issue 3. That my hours changed at work. So I used to do full-time hours, and now I'm home 2 days a week. I do part-time. And I was like, what about those horrible pages that I drew? Let's have a look at them. You have a look at YouTube and you have a look at them and you go, do you know what? These aren't as bad as I remember. You know, I quite like this. So that would have obviously been, 24 pages of a first issue. And I said, no, I need to prove to potential readers that I'm serious about this. So I thought, I'm going to lump issue 2 in with issue 1. So technically issue 1, it's 48 pages of story. So 50
a lot of story.
Is actually what I wrote for, or I had a friend of mine do the script for the first issue or first 2 issues. So I was like, I'm going to be serious about this. I'm going to finish what I've already done, but I'm then going to draw another 22 pages and get that all into issue 1 to prove to myself that I'm serious about doing it. So that was what I did. So I got 48 pages, printed it as 52, did a Kickstarter. I wouldn't say it did fantastic, but it got covered my goals, covered print costs, and
hey, at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for, right?
Yeah. And it gave me enough sort of motivation to go, I'm carrying on with this. I'm say issue 2, I'm always gonna have the entire issue drawn before I put it on Kickstarter. This won't be like it's 50%, it's 70%. None of that. It's 100%. That issue is drawn and it is now going on Kickstarter, and I'm already on the next one.
Nice, I like that. So you mentioned that you brought that off the shelf, and that makes me think of how many artists and how many writers out there have like just what could be a banger just sitting on their shelf or saved to a hard drive somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's crazy to think about.
It was just sat on my computer, and in the back of my head, it's always there. It's always there going. What? And especially, as I say, so I do freelance design work home, sort of 2 days a week, and it's very sporadic the amount of work you get in. Work was there, I was doing it, and I was pushing myself trying to get work coming in, but you're still sitting around, you're watching TV, you just sort of go, and then you just think, why am I sitting here just watching TV? There's that thing back here. Yeah. Why am I not looking at that? And now it's taken over. So I'm not taking on any new work. I've got a few existing clients, so I'll still do work for them, but this has taken over. So as long as I've still got money coming in from the part-time work I do and things like that, I can keep this going.
So you are a graphic designer by trade. How did that professional background shape the storytelling of Legacy?
I don't know if it's shaped the storytelling at all. I think, if anything, all it's really done is it's given me, it means that I know exactly how to not just, I don't know how to draw a comic, that's the one thing I'm working on. But as a graphic designer, I know how to get my pages laid up. I know how to get things ready for print. I know sort of like, well, this has got to be CMYK, and I've got to make sure this is a print ready file and stuff. So yeah, it's certainly the time I've had at work has made it a lot less stressful and to know exactly what I've got to do. And it also means that I know printers as well, so I can contact printers and go, look, I've done some, I've done work.
So with knowing a printer, though, that automatically puts you in a league of your own and a step above others who have to go out and find a printer. You actually know a printer who does work for you. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So through the company that I work for, we can do very small limited runs, and I can certainly do my own like test prints there and get them stapled and guillotined down to size. But we wouldn't do sort of a large run. But yeah, I know several printers, and I can get several different prices for all different things, and go, come on, mate, come on.
Some built-in cheat code. Look at you with the built-in cheat code. So let's talk about Legacy here. So Legacy, Idols and Bones lives at the intersection of superhero mythology, sci-fi scale, horror consequences. What defines the tone of this universe?
Tone's a difficult one. I'd say that what I'm trying to do with it, as someone who's been reading comics since I was 13, and I still read superhero comics now, but I'd say I read more sort of horror comics, mostly sci-fi comics, is I want consequences in my comic. And I mean, I absolutely love the MCU because I'm 47 and I came from an era of when like comic book films were, you know, Steel and things like that were coming out, and
that was so horrible.
Yeah, exactly. So once the MCU,
we did get Blade in that era.
Yeah, you know, we started getting the good ones, and the X-Men came along. And so what I'm saying is, like, I love the MCU, but it is aimed at, you know, it's got that 12A rating, and it's, you know, if you had a character, even a character like War Machine, if you've got a character like War Machine out there with, you know, machine guns on his shoulders, people are going to die. There's people dying. There's people accidentally getting in the way. There's, you know, things like that. And so issue 1 starts with a character who's very much a sort of War Machine type character, and he just opens fire on a beach. And I don't care if you are Superman, the people on that beach are going to die. You know, you can get in and you can stop that guy, but it's consequences. You know, if you've got these incredibly powerful people running around, and you see it in, you know, The Boys and other things like that. But if you've got
I love that show. The
Yeah.
comic book is just so good. I'm hoping when it gets ready to finish, that's the route they go, is the comic book route, because that ending of the comic book was amazing.
Yeah, but I want everything in my comic to be sort of like, if this happened, these are the consequences that would follow on from it. And obviously within that, you know, I want to have action. If I'm only getting to draw a couple of days a week, I mostly want to be drawing cool stuff. And there's obviously
of course,
stations, and there's, you know, people in buildings having, you know, just, you know, having a chat and things. You got to have that because it's still, you've got to push the story forward.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I think this is actually one thing I forgot, is that when I was before I got back into doing issue 1, I was reading an Avengers trade. I can't remember who wrote it, but I was reading an Avengers trade, and you've got like Thor and Captain America and whoever else was, you know, with them, and they rock up on this island, and there's these like massive kaiju, you know, snakes and monsters and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to kick off. There's going to be a big old fight here. Turn the page, and Thor was standing on top of a big snake type creature, holding Mjolnir in his hand, going, "Ha ha, we beat them." Like,
yeah, I don't like that.
What? I'm sorry, what?
There's like 3 pages of action missing there.
And it was like, let's go and have a discussion with Dr. Doom. I'm sorry, what? This is a comic. I want to see the massive fight with the monsters.
That's the whole reason you buy the comic, right?
You still want to.
You want that action.
Forward. You can still push a story forward during a fight. And if you really, I'm not saying I'm really good at it, but if you are really good at it, you can definitely push a story forward with a fight. Like, that can be what is the story of it. But I literally was just like, I cannot do this. Turn the page and you've skipped action. Why would you do that? And I don't remember anything else about that book, because I was just like, no.
That's horrible. And that probably cost you $15.99.
Probably, yeah. So I want to draw things that are like, and trust me, it's like, I wish I could draw big old cities getting smashed up, because in the first issue it would have been set in a city, but my background drawing skills are not that great yet. I'm still working on, so I ended up being in a quarry. But
hey, you took the Rob Liefeld method, just draw it behind a rock.
But yeah, that's one of the things I want from my comic, is big action, but big action that has consequences. And then everything in issue 1, all the characters that pop up, you know, they're not just there for no reason. It's like a character like Widowmaker in the first issue. You're going to see her.
She's a badass.
I mean, it sort of feels like maybe people think she's just there to introduce Carcass, which she is. Obviously, that's how I wanted to introduce him, but she's not gone. Like, that character will come back. Other things that happen in issue, and her motivations will also be continued on.
Yeah, Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like her introduction in the first book was amazing. Just her standing over a carcass with the knife in her hand. I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
oh,
one
that is so badass.
yeah, I
So
will
badass.
go. I like that page. I think I did well on that page.
Dude, there's a lot of really good pages in that book. The fight afterward was really good too, but that one mid section of that page just phenomenal.
Thank you.
But let's keep it going. So this legacy captures the spirit of the 90s, which is amazing. It's one of my favorite eras, although everything was overprinted back then. But how did you keep that nostalgic feel without it being like, well, let me rephrase that. It captures the spirit of the 90s without becoming nostalgic, because this doesn't feel like, yes, it rings the 90s, but it doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
I think that goes back to what I just said about this Avengers comic. You wouldn't have had that in the 90s. You know, I love the fact that you can have these fantastic stories in modern traits, and you know, we both completely agree that comics is more than just superheroes. It's a genre. It can be absolutely anything.
Mhm.
And you can have, you know, stories telling anything, and you didn't get so much that in the 90s. But I do think that like the action, it was just big and just out there, and it didn't try and constrain itself to sort of like, well, that's just not realistic. You know, it was just a bit mad. And like I picked up issue Spawn. I was quite late getting into that comic. It was issue 45 that I picked up. I think I was about 17 then, and that just blew my mind, because I was just like, what is this? And I went back and, you know, got all the previous issues, and then bought all of the, you know, up to about issue 100, like just Greg Capullo.
So there was people out there who say the first 100 are the best run. I will argue that from about 300 forward, it gets good again, because I picked it up around. So I picked up, like, I think I have like the first 10 issues. I need to go back and get like 11 through 99 or something, because I think I have issue 100. But I got out of comic books for a very long time, just simply because I traveled a lot and I just did not have the money to support a habit like that. So I gave it up completely. So, but I did pick it up after I settled back down. And now it's like short box after short box. Spawn's still one of my favorite reads. I have the compendiums because, again, I'm not going to track down all those comic books that I don't have, because they're overly priced and I'm not going to track them down. But the compendiums were there. Grab the compendiums, and I will admit, you know, after 100, it kind of went downhill, and it pissed up again. I think about 250. It did 304 to me, in my opinion.
50. I've picked up issues 300, and then I have in the last certainly couple of years. I'll pick up the odd trade. I think not that it's not that Spawn is a bad comic. I could never say that. I mean, just what Todd McFarlane has done for the industry, you know, is unbelievable. But it's fallen into the trap of, it became a massive IP, and now Spawn, to me, would be exactly the same as me picking up just like Spider-Man or Superman or anything like that. I'm sorry, I just don't have an interest in now. Not because they're bad, but I'm done with it. You know, I read them. I did when I was in my.
Well, I mean, did split it, because now you have the Scorched. They did a Violator short run. They have Salmon Twitch.
Yeah.
They have King Spawn. They have Medieval Spawn.
He knows that. Oh my God, they're always so well drawn.
She Spawn is going to get her own 5-issue run starting next month.
Gail Simone, I think, isn't it?
Huh?
I think it's written by Gail Simone. I think
so. I think it is Gail Simone, which is amazing. All praise Gail Simone. She is amazing. Yeah. And I'm so happy she's getting a lot of love.
It still comes back to me of like, we're at a point where there's no consequences. There's no consequences in comics, because it's an IP, it's massive. You know, it's going to happen to Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Spawn is now in that list. Because it's too much money for them to really break the mold and try and do something else. And I don't want
Spawn broke that mold and became became what it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the Batman. It wasn't the Superman. It wasn't the X-Men.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane broke the mold, rebuilt the mold, and now he is the mold.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about, like this crazy indie company that popped up in, I think, 1993. It has become this massive market of creator-owned comics, and that's what I still love about them. Creator-owned.
But I mean, my favorite run would be Invincible.
Oh, phenomenal.
Phenomenal
run.
I hate the fact that series ended, and I love the fact that series ended.
It ended the way it should have been, and when it should have.
Yeah.
Any more or any less would not have been right. Like
the final issue, I don't want to give spoilers to anyone who's never read Invincible, because that is the one thing I would say.
I always tell, like, it feels like every other show, Invincible gets brought up, and I'm like, read it before you watch it, or if you're watching it, stop watching it and go read it.
Yeah, it managed to run 144 issues. There were a few side trades and things.
You can get the trades, or I personally own the compendiums. Like, I went and got the entire compendiums as a set.
Gorgeous.
And it was just the art, the writing, everything is just beautiful.
Yeah.
The animated series does not do it justice.
No, before this, obviously, we were talking about, our kids and things. My daughter will watch Invincible with me, and she will get very excited about a new series coming along, and she's like, "Oh, we watch Invincible," and I'm like, "Got all the trades out there, go
read it."
I still think that the comic is better than the animated
100%.
series. I think series 2 and 3 got better than series 1.
Oh, it got better, like 100 times better as it went.
But it's like, just go and read that.
So they also did The Walking Dead as well, and in the beginning of the TV series, I loved it because they were doing Old Man Carl.
Yeah,
and the Old Man Carl arc in The Walking Dead is the main story, and it was amazing. It's one of the best written storylines in a comic book, in my opinion.
It is my favorite writer. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Old Man Carl, amazing story arc. And then they killed him. I was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, you were building his story. This was his story. It is his story. And you just fucking killed him. Yeah. And I turned it off, and I haven't watched it again.
I only collect trades. I very rarely pick up comics, but I was collecting all the Walking Dead trades, and the series came along while the comic was still going. And I was picking up, when my friend at work, he was a massive fan of the show, but he's not a comic book fan at all. And he would sort of say to me, like, "Oh, is that like from the comics? Is that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, some of it is, some of it isn't."
Yeah.
And it diverged off so much and became such a massive thing that, even though Kirkman is my favorite writer, I am pretty sure that I've never actually finished reading The Walking Dead, because I sort of went,
it was too much. That's why I only have the Old Man Carl arc in trade paperback, because I wasn't in comics at the time.
Yeah.
When The Walking Dead started, that's when I went and picked up the first trade paperback of the Old Man Carl arc and started reading it, and I was just like, I gotta have this. I gotta go pick up more. And I ended up collecting the whole arc because it was just so good. Like, I could just pick it up and read it and be disappointed in the TV series.
I still got the compendium, the first compendium, which covers like first 40-something issues. Sure, I got that signed by Charlie Adlard. At one convention I went to, I'm sure he signed it. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I did keep the rest of the trades. I literally only kept that compendium because I just felt so burnt out by the series.
Oh, easy.
I need space back on my shelves. And I wish I hadn't. I should have kept them. But, yeah.
So what do you think about them stripping Battle Beast out of Invincible and giving him his own comic book run?
I am absolutely delighted to see Kirkman and Otley working together again.
Same.
Absolutely. I think, I wasn't a fan of Otley on Spider-Man. I'm a huge Hulk fan, but I didn't like the Hulk run he did. His art was great, but it didn't let him run loose with it like he could have. So to see him back, to see them back working together, was joy in my heart. I was people rave about the character of Battle Beast, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like he's all right.
I personally like it, you know, because I mean, the dude is supposed to die. Like his only goal in life is to die.
Yeah. So
And he's gonna go out fighting. So like it's amazing because his only goal is like he will die in battle.
As well, you and
Maybe.
I, having read Invincible, we know what happens to that character.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just sort of like, well, I know what happens to that character, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it because it's you know, one of my favorite writers with one of my favorite artists. But I think there's part of me that wishes that they had come up with something new and different rather than delving into the world of Battle Beast. As much as I'm enjoying it,
I'm enjoying it, and I can see what you're saying with that, but I've enjoyed it so much, and they teased it. I think back in 2021, 2022, they released a single issue of Battle Beast because I got the Tyler Kirkman signed Battle Beast.
I always pick it up because
what
was it that you picked up? They did something. Was it called Solid Blood? Did you grab that issue?
I did not. No.
So they did this. I wish I was downstairs and I could go and grab it. They did this whole like not April Fools. I don't know how to describe it, but Kirkman was like, I've gone into the warehouse and there's this pallet of comics that I don't know anything about, but apparently I wrote it and Otley drew it, and it's literally issue 17 of a comic called Solid Blood by Kirkman and Otley, and it throws you right into the middle of a story like an issue 17 would of these characters. And that's it. It's that one issue. It wasn't. I don't think it was put in like previews or whatever you get these days.
Yeah, that's really cool though.
Sent to the comic shops, and that part of me wishes they'd done that. But I love that two of them did that. I think that was fantastic.
So let's dive into your characters. So for your heroes, you have. I'm going to attempt to pronounce his name. Is Eidolon?
Eidolon. So it's like an idol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eidolon. Okay. And then Carcass.
And then Carcass. Yeah.
And then for your villains, you have Pulse.
Yeah.
Widowmaker, who is probably just so amazing. Like, your introduction to her was phenomenal. And then Reordain.
Yeah, Reordain. Yeah.
So
even there to show what a crappy writer I am. Because I'd always had that character in my head, Reordain, as basically a doomsday character. You know, he's the master that fights the superhero. Well, it's another word for doomsday is foreordain, like Foredain.
Yeah.
So I just took the first two letters off of that and stuck an apostrophe in it and called him Reordain.
If it works, it works, right?
It sounds like a cool alien monster name. And obviously the things happen to that character in the first issue, but the effects of what that character did will be felt for quite some time.
So for discussion here, are they protectors or problems? What truly makes these powers dangerous in this world? And is this more the story about heroism or more about legacy of the characters?
I think it is about legacy. It's because not being an IP, none of the characters are safe. Anything can happen to any of the characters, and yes, it's what's this? It's confused me. Sorry, you've confused me. What was the question again?
No, you're good, man. That's fucking hilarious. So, are they protectors or problems, or what truly makes these powers dangerous in this world?
The characters. So certainly, Eidolon is a superhero. He is the front-facing #1 superhero of the world. Even in issue 1, there's adverts in there for the eau de parfum or whatever you want to call it.
Dude, that had me cracking up. I'm not gonna lie. Those two commercials you did on the inside of them, dude, those were awesome.
And I want to. So the plan was, as a sidebar here, every issue will have, or hopefully, if I can figure it out, will have a full page artwork that probably won't have any like dialogue on it, but does push the story forward or build the world. So very much the fact that there is simply an advert in the comic showing that Eidolon has his own range of, you know, aftershave or whatever.
Dude, so it reminded me of those old school 90s commercials with the eau de parfum, and the dude's just like posing with the cologne.
And because he just sees himself as like the sexiest guy on the planet, which definitely plays into a lot of where the story goes.
Well, I mean, if we read the story, I mean, he has no problem with ladies.
No, and at the moment, yeah, that is true. And then obviously the other page in issue 1 is the kids menu, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
With a toy on top of it and stuff.
And then it also has the little box where you could draw your favorite hero or whatever, and the kid drew him. Yeah,
so that comes back. Like, I'm trying to sort of like, nothing in issue 1 is throwaway. You know, everything in that first issue will more than likely get touched on or brought back in a big way as it goes on. So certainly, you know, Eidolon is the forefront of superheroism in the world, even though behind the scenes, I never wanted him to be. He's not who's the guy from The Boys?
Oh, you talking about Homelander?
Yeah, Homelander. He's not Homelander. He's not an evil guy. He's not a bad guy. He is a superhero, but behind closed doors, he'll still, you know, he's taking drugs and drinking and just having sex with whoever's around and whatever. But I don't think he's a bad person. He still will go out there and he will, you know, save that cat in a tree if he's told he has to go and do it. He'll go and do it.
Yeah.
But he's not a bad person. And then obviously you've got someone like Carcass that I think his motivations for doing it are very different. And I think a lot of that plays into, because they're brothers. I don't know if we've said that. I don't think we have.
Yeah. No, we didn't say it yet, but they are brothers, yes.
They are brothers, yeah. And I think the reasons he does it much more plays into their father and his effect on the world, because, you know, again,
what I really liked about Carcass is he doesn't look like your typical superhero.
No.
Like, when you first see him on the cover, you're like, oh, that has to be the bad guy, because that's what in your head what a bad guy is supposed to look like. But he's not. He's one of the other hero in the book.
Yeah. And I mean, even in the first 3 pages of the comic, they're a bit of a sort of fake out, because it's set 65 million years ago. But that all comes back, and I'm hoping that, you know, if everything goes well, that if I manage to get a second arc, or, you know, even if it's just a couple of one shots or something, that the characters seen in those first 3 pages, you know, they'll come back. It's all just world building.
No, and I'm glad that's a perfect segue, because we're going to talk about issue 1 real quick. So it's 52 pages, 48 pages of story, and it builds this foundation for you. 52 pages is basically a graphic novel.
I don't even want to think about how many pages are still ahead of me at the moment, because I'm talking to other artists and stuff, and a friend of mine who's done a pin-up in issue 2, Matt Timpson, who's just done a pin-up that's just blown me out of the water.
Yeah, in fact, I'm glad you brought him up too, because that's the next topic. Please go.
Yeah. So it's a hell of a lot of pages ahead of me, and I don't want to think about that. And yeah, so he's doing a one shot that he's going to put on Kickstarter soon, that I've been very lucky to. He's showing me some pages, and everyone's going, just do a one shot, just do, or make it less issues, And maybe it's because I'm having to now write it myself. I'm like, well, no, I know what happens in issues 3, 4, 5, all the way through to issue 6, which technically, obviously, as we said earlier, would have been issue 7. Because one is 2 issues, you know, it's got 2 issues worth of story in it. So it's a 7 issue, essentially, that I'm drawing. But while I'm still enjoying it, and you know, it's a lot ahead of me, but I'm excited because I obviously know what's coming up. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get to issue 5 where that thing happens and I get to draw that.
Yeah.
I'm the one
Dude,
who draw that
it's
thing.
awesome just to see how much you're enjoying this and how passionate you are to get this done, which
This week
it bleeds over. It really does. It bleeds over. It is awesome to see, dude. So you also have a pinup coming from Dan Butcher as well.
Yeah, who does he's a co-host on another podcast, and he's got his own web comic called Vanguard, which I admit I've only started reading, so the first I'm about 7 or 8 issues into that. But I obviously I enjoy drawing, it's why I'm doing this, but I will very often draw, like be obsessed with a smaller comic. Like did you read a comic called Petrolhead?
I didn't.
You haven't? I see. It was by Rob Williams and Piper, and I think it's the best comic. I think it came out in 2024. Definitely look into the trade for Petrolhead. It's fantastic.
Okay.
The moment I finished reading it, I was like, I've got to draw that character. I've got to draw it because it just feels like the ultimate kind of sign of, I don't know about respect, but a sign of like, I think what you've done is really cool, and I want to draw. So when Dan Butcher came to me and said, would you be interested in me doing like either a variant cover or a pin-up or something for your comic? I'm like, hell yes. To have someone else draw my characters, for someone else to go, I think you've done something that I want to draw them. I want to have a go at drawing your characters. You just go, oh, 100%. That's dream come true.
So that's dude, you're segueing so well. I love it. The next question was literally how important is community collaboration in indie world building, and you just summed that up perfectly.
Yeah,
it's an ultimate form of flattery.
It is.
When they contact you and go, "Can't I draw your characters?"
Yeah, and I did say to Dan, because he's working on his own indie comic at the moment. I have pledged towards it. It's either called Red Viper or Viper. I can't remember. But I pledged towards it, and he's drawing page online. And I said to him, look, I definitely want to draw one of your characters for something you've done. If you would like me to, you know, if you're interested in doing it. Obviously, I'm so busy with what I'm doing. I've got to try and find the time to do it. But I would love to draw, you know, other people's indie characters, because everyone's drawing, you know, things, and I don't want to go into a whole AI rant here. People are pumping out so much AI slop.
They are.
Of characters and stuff, and I love the Hulk, and I'm on several Hulk Facebook groups, and the amount of times you're just like, oh my god, no, it's just so much love. That for someone to go, I want to take time out of my day to draw your thing, and for me to maybe say that to someone else is just the highest compliment.
Dude, I will say this: the indie comic book community on Facebook is some of the best stuff. Like, everybody is so helpful. Everybody, and they're not afraid to call out bullshit either. And I love it. And I'm in multiple groups, obviously, for what I do here, because I advertise in those groups. And a lot of people I meet come from those groups, and everybody is always really cool and really chill. Like, I wish I could participate more, but I just don't have that time and freedom to do that, because obviously I'm once my advertising is done and I fill a month, it's literally just becomes, okay, now I got to focus on the people now and get, you know, and building this stuff. But I can't say anything bad about any of those communities, really. Like, some of them are pretty bad about the AI stuff, but I just don't think it's admin the proper way. But for the most part, they're all really phenomenal communities, and I can't encourage people enough to join those communities and not only share your work, but, you know, help others.
And I'm blown away by the quality of most indie comics now. It's
incredible,
a tough sort of thing to get into, and you know, I hope mine does well. But I'm looking at what other people do, and I'm like, oh my god, this is considered indie. Like, this is fantastic.
It's crazy, right?
So much you can pledge towards. You like, I really like the look of that guy's one, but then, you know, I've only just pledged towards that guy's one. And
you know, it's like, so I had Chris Ford on here who does Dark Pink Comics. Like his Kickstarter was seen by one of the bigger like cover artists for like Marvel, DC, other indie comics, and he was just like, "Hey, I gotta give you a cover," and that was it. And he made him a cover, and I love that, like because even the bigger names out there are starting to recognize not just Kickstarter but other indie creators because they were there once, and they're giving back to those communities as well.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, indie comics has one of the best communities out there. Granted, just like any community, it has some toxicity, it has some bullshit. But from an overall perspective, we have one of the best communities out there.
Yeah, everyone just wants to enjoy comics. We all just want
100%.
doing well. You know, and as I say, there's phenomenal art out there, and there's sometimes stuff that isn't as professional looking. Let's keep it at that level. But you're still going on there going, you know, good for you. Good for you. You're still
start somewhere, right? You start somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that like this isn't my first comic. I actually did do one in 2012, which was a one-shot comic. And I haven't really shared that very much because I'm not very proud of the artwork in it. But part of me is thinking, well, maybe I should put that on at least GlobalComix or do something with it, just to show sort of how I've improved or how I think I've changed and moved on. But
that's one of my favorite things, to be fair, is when you see the person, the story, and the art evolve throughout multiple issues.
Oh, I think issue 2 of Legacy Idols and Bones looks better than issue 1, and it's frustrating because I have got printed copies already, and I can't go back. You know, I haven't got time to go back. But there's definitely pages in issue 1 where like Claire and Dr. Green are talking. It's not good artwork. You know, I hope my comic sells, but I definitely think like that. But I do think what I'm doing now, and I want to go back and change it, but it's just like, no, look, you've got to keep going, moving forward. So I hope that, you know, by the time I am on issues sort of 5 and 6 and things like that, that maybe it doesn't represent, you know, the artwork how it looks in issue 1, but hopefully it's improved. And also, the other thing I'd actually like to say is the story does go off in some quite dark directions. I mean, dark starts, or certainly violent and things like that. But it goes off in some very dark directions, and I want to make sure that I'm always interested in drawing the pages.
Yeah,
and that means me trying different styles and doing different things. I'm going to do it because why wouldn't I? It's my comic.
And that's what's great about it, right? It's yours. You do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. So there is a good chance that like certain pages as it goes on will not look the same as it did in those first issues, and I hope it does. You know, I want to try new things. I want to keep being interested.
You don't evolve unless you do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
and everybody wants to evolve. I want to evolve and be a better, you know, podcaster, a creator. Every time I do clips, I get better and better and better. And you don't get better unless you're doing it.
I'm trying to sit down literally, as I say, I'm home 2 days a week, and look at it as like, okay, I'll normally start from about sort of 8 o'clock in the morning through until sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's when I'm in the house by myself. You know, I'm married and I've got not young kids, I've got daughters. It's difficult when there's people around, so I am like that like 9 hours of the day I'm going to sit and draw. And I do think that because I've now solidly started doing that, yes, I'm definitely improving. If you can say that about yourself, I think you can.
You can, 100%.
My friend Matt, he's also gone, look, I think this is a step up from what you've done.
Dude, my first show to where I am today is night and day, 100%.
Yeah. And I'm incredibly of issue 1. I think, you know, I got 48 pages out, and how many people can say that? You know, it's this thing. But, you know, I do think it's improving. And there's stuff, I'm definitely proud of some of those pages. Like you say, the Widowmaker page, I'm incredibly proud of.
Dude.
Certain pages where, like, JCBs are involved.
In the beach scene, that beach fight scene was, like, insane, too. With the crab creature.
That was drawn in, like, 2020.
Dude, that scene is insane. It's bloody, it's violent, it's disgusting. It's everything you want in a comic book.
if you've got people out there that are swinging punches that could take down a mountain, then no one's coming out with just a black eye. You know, it's
Dude, no, like his
give
jaw got knocked the fuck off. How about that?
the end of issue 1, but as you know from reading issue 1, things happen to our delightful hero that will definitely follow through the entire series, because you don't walk away from a fight with a giant monster with a couple of scratches.
You don't, and you definitely proved that, and it was, dude. So in comic book, it's one of those things where if it's going to be extremely violent, make it extremely violent and bloody. Give me all the juicy bits, right?
Yeah.
But if you're making this nice, soft, slice of life story, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. I like to read those too.
I want to make sure that I don't want to say what happens to him, but
don't spoil. No spoilers.
Exactly. But what happens to him, I think, is what would happen to you if you were fighting, this giant monster.
100%. That's what you want to see, though.
Yeah, it isn't just violence for the sake of violence, and it's not just nudity for the sake of nudity. I do think that if you're in a situation where, you're in a room and you're having sex with a couple of women and taking drugs and stuff, there's probably going to be nudity involved.
100%. If it fits the story, it fits the story. It fits the charm and allure of the story, and it works. Go with it, right?
Talking about that though, so as I say, issue 1 is on GlobalComix, and it's had a
segue, man. Next up, we're going to talk about the Kickstarter itself. And normally I ask, why crowdfunded, but I'm not
on GlobalComix. I've only ever had one guy comment issue 1, and it's had 700 people read it. And I know people don't often comment. I don't comment on things. I had one guy comment on it, and he said the artwork isn't very good, or something like that. And I was just like, okay, I'm just a guy who's trying to make a comic, but you are welcome to your opinion. And he replied back saying, for a raunchy comic, your art isn't good enough. And in my head, I was like, it's not a raunchy comic. That was what I took from that. I was like, you think this is a comic? No, it's a comic that has violence, it has sex, it has profanity, but it's not a raunchy comic.
Yeah. I didn't take that from it, so I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Yeah, I just found that really weird. I'm like, no, this isn't.
I think he went into it expecting it to be a more not safe for work type of comic book. And then when he didn't get that, he felt the need to say, oh, it's not raunchy enough and the art sucks.
Yeah, and
that's not what this comic book is.
You just got to laugh it off. You just got to go, look, that's your...
You really do, because if you took everything to heart, you would never make art.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, that's a good one.
I know I'm not a professional comic book artist, and I wish I had put more effort in my 20s, and maybe I could have been there. But I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep putting the effort in now and see where it takes me.
No, 100%. And I've enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed the hell out of issue 1. I think other people who enjoy a comic book for what it is, which in this instance is a bloody, violent, not safe for work scenario type of book. So if that's what you're into, then that's what you're into. Then you will definitely enjoy this book. If you're a big fan of The Boys, you're going to love this comic book.
Yeah. I think I need to go back and properly read The Boys one day, I think, because I've read sort of 3 or 4 issues and I've watched the entire series. What I'd say about the series of The Boys, as much as I enjoy it, a lot of the violence in it often feels like they're just doing violence.
Yeah.
Again, that's what I'm saying about this comic, is it is incredibly violent and it has got blood and guts and gore, but it's because of what is happening to that person, and then what are the consequences of that violence, and it's still fun. I want people to, and I don't know how long it took you to read it. I don't think it's a long read. I think
it's not a very long read.
No,
you can read through it in like 10-15 minutes.
But I think still a lot happens in it. and even issue 2, which will only be 24 pages of story. I'm not great at getting loads of dialogue in there. I'm not, people having huge conversations. I want their actions to push the narrative forward.
Well, that's what I always say is the art tells the story, the words push the story along.
Yeah.
And that's what a comic book is. And if you're going to a comic book to read a full narrative story like you would in a book, you're looking at a comic book for the wrong reason. You're looking at the comic book because the art is telling the story and the words are pushing the narrative of that art.
Yeah. I mean, because part of me, you want to build your audience. I'd love to obviously have a massive audience following. And you think, well, maybe I should go on Twitch or something like that and, draw pages on there. But I'm always sort of like, well, if it's just a page of people talking without the dialogue on it, who's going to want to watch it? And
you'd be surprised.
And if it's a page where there's massive action and consequences, I'm giving plot away. And
yeah, like, you don't want to do that.
So I'm still sort of very hesitant about, sitting there and doing any sort of live drawing stuff.
I know there's a lot of big name comic book artists out there that they have YouTube channels where they do the art tutorials and they just draw and show people how they draw characters. And it's really fun to watch them, just the precision they have with a pen or a pencil.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I could sort of, I still need to obviously do covers and things. So maybe I could try doing something like that.
But let's talk about the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is live now. It goes until the 20th of this month. So there's about 6 days left.
Yeah, week today. So I'm in the UK, obviously. I think I've got it ending at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. So it was only a 12-day Kickstarter. And again, this is through talking to friends of mine who have done previous ones. And they're sort of mostly being able to come onto podcasts like this and other things that I've done. I want to be able to push the whole time that it's on Kickstarter. And if I'm going 30 days, I just feel like maybe by day 16, 17, people are just going to get pissed off. They're going like, oh,
I don't think so. I really don't. In 12 days, I feel like you're selling yourself just a little bit short. Well, I think the full 30 days is the way to
go. Don't get me wrong. I'd love it if that doubled right now. That'd be amazing. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of be able to push it really hard for 10 to 12 days. And there's certain days when I'm at home, and I wanted to make sure I was at home on the days that it started. So it was just trying to sort of be around for that. But I'm still blown away when you have friends and family that put money towards these things, and that's but just to see, like, I don't know who this person is, and they've just pledged money towards something I've done, which goes back to people drawing your own characters. Just to see people where you go, I don't know this person, and they've just put money towards. They've looked at what I've done and gone, I want to support that, and that again just blows me away, because it's just it's
amazing, right? Dude, that's me every time I get a new guest on this show, that this person is putting their trust and faith in me to deliver them a show and to have them on the show, and that they're trusting me to come on my show to talk about what they're selling. And I get the same feeling every time. It's amazing.
So I am very pleased with how the Kickstarter is going. I kept it quite a low amount. I figured out what my print costs were going to be for the various items. I'm hopeful that it will cover it. I was more interested in reaching an achievable goal than completely thinking about, is it going to cover all my costs? Because let's face it, most of us are doing this for the passion of doing it, rather than making money. We've said this. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I wish I was making money, but
100%.
At some point,
walk us through your Kickstarter.
Is going to knock on my door and offer me money for the IP, but as of yet, that's what happened.
But walk us through your Kickstarter and what people can expect from your Kickstarter, like any goals that you have and anything else that they may be interested in.
I'm trying to keep it like really as simple as possible. So obviously issue 1 is already out, but I always want to make sure that people can get hold of previous copies. So I think this being issue 2, I think there's a PDF of issue 2, a PDF of issues 1 and 2, a printed copy of issue 2, and a printed copy of issues 1 and 2. And then I'm doing foil art prints, which is the front cover of issue 1, and then there's a not suitable for work front cover of issue 1 that have got printing on them, bookmarks and stickers, like little vinyl stickers of
nice.
The logo, Eidolon's chest logo, and the Caucasus skull. So 3 separate stickers. So that's its own pledge thing. And then one where you can appear in the comic, which I've only got 3 spaces because obviously you've got to find a page where you can actually have people on it.
Yeah.
And 2 of those have already gone, so there's 1 of them left, which I think is like 50 quid. But I really just wanted to keep it as absolutely as simple as possible, because I'm a guy that just wants to read comics, and generally I'm not that I know a lot of people out there like variant covers. I don't give a shit about variant covers generally. I want to read the comic, and I guess maybe that's because I would only pick up not only just a trade, but if there was a cover I like, I'll pick that one up. But I'm not worried about
different
variants. And I won't do variant covers. I will put a variant of the artwork in the comic. So issue 2, both issue 1 and issue 2 and issue 3, when I get it done, there is like a not suitable for work variant version of that cover artwork, but it's not going to be a variant comic. It will just be on the inside back page. There'll be the for work sort of version of it. I just want to do it as possible and go, look, if you want to read a comic, pledge here. This is, and I'll keep doing my best to keep the prices as low as possible. So I know the pound prices, I don't know the dollar, I'm afraid, but I think issue 2 I'm doing for like 3 quid. And obviously if that's a PDF, then you're not paying any postage. What's that going to be, like $4, I think, maybe?
Yeah, I think just shy of $4
for a 32-page comic. You know, I'm doing my
a 32-page comic in the comic book shop's going to run you $8.99.
While I'm, I have got another job and that brings enough in for me to get by. I'm like, look, I just want people to read this. And this is again why we talked about being on GlobalComix, because like 700 people have read it on GlobalComix, which is pence, dollars, cents. But how do you get that exposure? You're getting it from Kickstarter.
But let's start closing this out. Who is Legacy 4?
Well, me.
Dude, I love that fucking answer, to be fair to you. At the end of the day, who are we doing this for?
Obviously, completely to get it out, get that little niggle out the back of my brain. I want it out there, but also I want people to read it. I've been asked this before, and it's a mature reader comic for all the reasons that we've discussed. I've got when she read the first issue, my daughter was 16. And I was like, do you want to read the first issue? And there was stuff in there she didn't particularly appreciate, as you can imagine.
Of course, yeah.
But I do think a 16-year-old is.
Yeah.
I think her as a 16-year-old was mentally capable of reading it. I think there are possibly 16-year-olds out there that aren't mentally capable.
Yeah.
25-year-olds out there that aren't mentally capable of reading it. But it's certainly aimed at, I would hope, I think it's going to help if you're a comic reader. If you're like me, you've grown up reading superheroes, and maybe you're a little bit jaded by the fact that it never ends. It just.
Yeah.
I want someone to come in. I want those readers to come in and go, "This is different. This is the superhero that I've been wanting to read for the last few years, and I haven't seen it elsewhere." And I'm not here to say there aren't other Kickstarters and other indie comics out there like that. There probably are, because I'm not reading them all. I don't think I've reinvented the wheel here, not at all. But I certainly think that what I've created, if you've been reading comics a long time and you're just sort of like, I can't read another Spider-Man, I can't read it, not because they're bad, but because it feels like I've been doing it since I was 15. This is where you come. You come to Legacy Idols and Bones, because what happens to these characters will stay happened to these characters.
No magic healing overnight.
Yeah, and it's going to be consequences for everything. As I say, even that kids menu that you see in the first issue, that's got a lot more to it than it just being a kids menu. You will see little things like that will come back in issue 3 that I'm working on now. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, dude. That you're maintaining continuity throughout each one, and not just like, oh, he had an arm ripped off. Well, it didn't happen in issue 2.
Yeah.
No, you're still seeing those effects in issue 2. Yeah. So that's really cool that you're doing that. But Gary, plug your work for everybody so they know where to find you.
So as we say, it's on Kickstarter at the moment. So if you search for Legacy Idols and Bones, it would come up, and it is the Kickstarter is issue 2, but obviously it is issues 1 and 2. So chances are that, you know, if you haven't read issue 1, which the vast majority of the population, then go to Kickstarter and get both of them. If you are on GlobalComix, then issue 1, again, just search for Legacy Idols and Bones. Issue 1 is on there. I'm going to be completely honest, I'm not going to put issue 2 on for a good few months yet, because I want the Kickstarter to really have, you know, had the chance to do well, and I don't want people to think, well, I won't do the Kickstarter because I'll just read it on GlobalComix.
Yeah.
Week, you know. No, I'm going to leave that a couple of months. It will go on there, but just not straight away. But I will keep adding to GlobalComix. I created a Facebook group. I was quite specific to create a Facebook group, not a Facebook page, because I want conversation. You know, if I did a post, I'm the only person that can post on it. Whereas if it's a Facebook group, I want the people that have read it, and even if you didn't like it, just post, you know, on it, and you know, I want conversation on there. So I'm really hoping that when, you know, issue 2 lands on people's emails or on their doorstep, I am going to be sort of like, look, what do you think of it? Get onto the Facebook page. I've got an Instagram for it, so obviously I'm sharing images and things on there as well. Just trying to get
and you're on BlueSky as Gary Seaward.
Yeah, so BlueSky. I mean, because I have on Instagram, obviously got a Gary Seaward Instagram, and then I've got Idols and Bones Instagram. On BlueSky, I've only got BlueSky, so you might see a picture of like my dog or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, I share my cats all the time. It's nothing wrong with it. But Gary, I want to say thank you for coming on, man. It was been a blast.
Pleasure. I love talking comics, and I don't have really any comic book friends.
Yeah, no. Hey, you got my Instagram and you got my Facebook, so feel free to hit us up anytime you want to talk about them.
Talk comic, not just my comic, but just to talk comics. I could sit here for 10 hours with you, mate, but take some more fed or whatever it is.
But yeah, dude, don't be afraid. Hit us up. We'll talk about comic books all day. But every universe,
issue 3 in another 4 months or something, I'll be back on.
Let's do it. Hey, shoot me a message. You know how to do it now.
I will do. I've got your email.
Perfect. Thank you. So every universe begins somewhere, sometimes with the questions, sometimes with a sketch, sometimes with the creator deciding that the story they've carried for years deserves to finally exist. Legacy, Idols and Bones is more than a comic. It's a commitment to building something lasting in a space where indie voices continue to redefine what modern mythology looks like. Gary, again, thank you for bringing us into your world and to everyone watching. If you believe in your universes, bold storytelling, and the future of indie comics, support the mission, join the legacy. The Council of Nerds is adjourned. This has been the United States Department of Nerds, where indie comics come to life. Y'all be safe and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
It's a trap!